Hi there guys, this is Antenna Oracle doing another reading. I am starting a new series called Love Dynamics. This is going to be in relation to water signs and fire signs here for that dynamic. I'm going to be doing all different kinds of signs, so whether that just be, I've done the water and earth, next up will be water and air. So you get kind of the idea of what's going on. I am pulling 7 cards across the top from all different, from all 4 decks here. I'm going to try and keep these in that same like 15-minute range for the videos, but they may go a little bit longer just because I am pulling more cards. With that being said, I am going to be linking my PayPal for my other YouTube channel for this group. So if you do choose to donate to it to help production, we could get maybe a better webcam or a better mic, because I know this mic is kind of coming across in a platform that's a little bit echoey and not necessarily the greatest, but that's kind of the thing. If you can set the production value and things like that, or if you just appreciate the readings, feel free to leave a donation. But the most important thing for me right now, honestly, above all else, is just to get more subscribers than anything. So likes and subscribes definitely help the channel grow the most, because every time the video gets liked, it gets bumped to the top, and it helps more people find it. So if ultimately this video is helpful for you, definitely would appreciate a like on the video, so that more people can find it, because if it's helpful for you, it may be helpful for somebody else. Alright. With that being said, guys, since there is so many cards that gets pulled when I'm doing a reading like this, if you guys would like to see me just have all the cards laid out, maybe not flipped over, but laid out ahead of time, I'd be happy to do that, just in the interest of saving everybody's time. I have pre-shuffled, pre-prayed. Obviously, I do that just to cut back and save time for everybody. So let's get the reading started. We have the Emperor and the 4 of Cups showing up in the headspace of the water sign here. This reads to me as them really stepping into a grounds, trying to balance out their emotions, especially within this fire sign dynamic. They're really feeling like that they have a lot of control over the dynamic between the two of you in their headspace. Like as far as how much emotion they're willing to put out, how much things like that. They're feeling very balanced in all aspects of this relationship between the water and the fire sign here. We have in the heart space, we have the Queen of Swords and we have the King of Swords. So to me, this may seem that the connection between the two of you has this very logical, driven, kind of direct thing. We have the counterparts here being represented, so to me that doesn't necessarily mean there's a lack of a connection. There just may be a lack of almost, like passion here, and that doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing if they're just seeing you as the connection is very equal and, driven between the two of you. Logical, makes sense, and this can be a good place for a lot of the water signs to be in, because a lot of times water signs are very highly directed by their emotions. So this doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, especially when I'm looking at it at a water sign. So we have the Prince of Pentacles, and then we have the 6 of Swords. So this, on the other hand, may be a little bit different, because this to me talks about this kind of like long process of them trying to go like, all right, I want to potentially make an offer here out to this fire sign, but they are potentially pulling back and starting to retract from being in that desire, because we have the 6 of Swords talking about them being willing to move on. So it could be one of those dynamics where it's like, yeah, I kind of want to do it, but only if you're going to meet me exactly how I want. This talks about kind of almost this idea of maybe being willing to cut it off if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'm willing to walk off. And that's kind of the dynamic the water sign's in. Underneath the headspace for the fire sign, though, in this dynamic, we have the Ace of Pentacles and we have the Knight of Pentacles. So to me, this looks like there's this offer, this idea of making an offer to the water sign here. And this is a 3-dimensional, tangible offer. So this could be, relationships, dating, This could be friends with benefits, something along the lines of that. But obviously, with this being a love reading, it is some sort of offer that is potentially going to come in. This could just be like this idea of like taking a friendship to a greater level, you know, going from like acquaintances to friends, friends to best friends, something like that, in hopes that it furthers this connection here. Under the heart space, we have the High Priestess, and then we have Strength. So between the two on the fire side dynamic, this talks about them really going internally and looking at the entire situation between how them and this water sign has played out, and them starting to try and follow their path and using the strength in order to do that. With the likely outcome here, though, it looks like we have the Nine of Swords and the Devil card showing up. So this is kind of a heavy energy between the two of them. It's almost like the fire signs, and this is going to be, you know, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. They may feel a bit trapped, a bit of an anxiety and stress, whether it's in this connection or some other connection that they have, but it's like this trap to, and I'm really feeling like lust or some form of addiction here, and it's something that's weighing them down on the entire connection. So whether maybe this water sign and this fire sign, when they get together, there may be, you know, a lot of passion and desire and lust and things like that, but then it just kind of dies off, and this may be something that's causing a bit of stress and anxiety for the fire sign here. This may also be what is causing the water sign to potentially move on, you know. If somebody's just constantly, you know, either messing around with other people, or they are potentially, you know, always being drunk or on drugs or something like that, some sort of dynamic like that. That may be one of those things where it's just like, you know, this connection is just not working out. And it's time to move on, because I feel like I'm in control and able to hold on to my emotions, and I'm not going to continue to invest in something that doesn't potentially look like it's going anywhere, even though there is this idea of maybe it potentially going somewhere in the future after some time. Remember, guys, this is supposed to be bi-weekly readings. So with that being said, you know, these dynamics, you know, they should play out somewhat quickly, and they don't always have these major influences. While they sometimes can, you know, have like long impacting and go for month on month. It is intended that a lot of times people feel and act in a certain way for just a couple of days, and then the entire dynamic can potentially change, you know, just quickly back. Everything is fluid, and time is fluid, so I see. Okay. So, alright. Underneath the water sign, we have the Fool with the Magician. This talks about this idea of them really manifesting in this new beginning. And this could be a new beginning in lots of different areas. Whether this is a new beginning into this relationship, or this is a new beginning within inside themselves. This could be business related. This could be, you know, anything else like that may just be something that's on their mind, and what may be holding them back in this connection from developing, as we see that they're, you know, trying to balance out their emotions here. We have the Five of Wands with the Seven of Wands playing out underneath the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords in the heart space. This means that there is this dynamic of feeling like there's a lot of social pressure, social influences that is keeping this relationship in a state of feeling, you know, like they have to be logical. It can't be overly flirty. It can't be overly passionate. It can't just be, you know, super romantic and things like that, because there is some dynamic of social background. So this could be a work situation. This could be social groups, you know, church groups, things like that. Any sort of dynamic in which you have outside influence that potentially could affect how the relationship is going. That is what is keeping, in their mind, that's what's keeping them from really acting in this emotional place and keeping things in a logical, direct, kind of guarded environment. And under the heart space, it looks like there's a lot of conflict because they understand that if they were to change the dynamic, they'd potentially have to stand their ground to a bunch of people and deal with a lot of social conflict or competition. There may be even a feeling of a lot of competition in regards to this other person as well. We have Justice in the Four of Swords showing up as the likely outcome here. So this talks about, kind of them going through this state of meditation and trying to figure out how to balance out the karmic events between the two of them. Whatever's been going on and however they've been feeling towards this other person here. The water sign is really feeling like they need to keep things balanced, especially karmically. So if, they've gotten blown off, or if they've been paying for everything, or if, XYZ, everybody's situation is going to be totally different because we're dealing with a bunch of different signs. And this is a general reading, obviously, but it's all about keeping that balance. So if they aren't feeling like the texting is back and forth mutually, or the amount of time they're wanting to spend together isn't mutually, they're really talking about balancing this out. And this may be why the water sign is starting to pull back or pull away or move on from this connection. And this is something that they've taken some time to really think about, meditate on, and really have reflect in their own life. I want to be treated this way. If I'm not going to be treated this way, I'm just going to move on until I find somebody else that treats me this way. Is kind of how I'm feeling this. And in this, we have the underneath the headspace and of the fire sign here, we have the Ten of Wands showing up, and then we have the Queen of Swords. So this may be something that's almost causing a lot of burden here for the fire sign, because they may have been looking for something that's a little bit faster and with a little bit more or less burden. Easier and faster is kind of the energy that I'm feeling. And because it's not being easy and fast in the certain dynamic, they may be kind of either looking to also cut this off, or just, stay more in a direct kind of manner with it. They may just also see this other person as this water sign as also just being kind of cold, closed off, and that is just causing them a lot of burden. However, under the heart space, we have the Knight of Cups and we have the High Priestess showing up. So this talks about them really feeling like they want to go out there and kind of put the emotional offer out on the table. They want to start introducing emotions into this. With this, they're trying to use their intuition, because they're saying, hey, maybe I've gone about this the wrong way. Maybe I'm not, proceeding in the right direction. When I've been wanting it fast, or kind of more on the lusty side of things, is really what I'm seeing. I wanted more of a physical connection potentially with the fire sign. Maybe if I introduce emotions here, I might get a different response, and that's kind of this idea that they're coming to in their head about the connection here. They're starting to realize that is the direction that maybe they should be heading. However, again, we have the Nine of Swords showing up and the Four of Wands showing up. So this talks about, relationship dynamics. So it's like the fire sign is stressed on one side because they realize that they have this kind of addiction to lust and potentially like a party lifestyle, whether this be alcohol, drugs, codependency, whatever. And then we have this idea of relationships, commitment, and something more serious also causing them anxiety. So it's like, for the fire sign, they just really can't win here, because either one way they get it and they have anxiety about it, and if they try and change the dynamic to the other side, they still have anxiety about it, and they're just, they're having to fight off a lot of demons internally amongst themselves as to what the connection can be, because I do feel like this fire sign actually does want a connection with their water sign. I think there's something about it that just intrigues them. All right, so we have Justice, we have the Eight of Pentacles, we have the King of Swords, and we have the Devil, all showing up as the likely outcome between the two of them. So This talks about, karmic cycles balancing out. So whatever the water sign was feeling potentially out of balance that may have been causing them to want to pull away, it's going to be balanced. One way, shape, form, or another, whether that means they actually do leave the connection, or whether that means the fire sign starts providing back in what it is that the water sign is looking for, or it felt like it was out of balance. We have the Eight of Pentacles, which talks about work and growth here. And then I see that the King of Swords is right underneath this. And the work and growth here, I really feel like is like actually changing this dynamic of kind of keeping things more on this logical, direct, guarded pathway between the two of them, and changing that dynamic. They're working on changing that dynamic of, kind of keeping things, I hate to say platonic, but I really feel like that's almost like what it is, because it's like, I think both sides don't want it to be a platonic connection, but I feel like it's kind of a platonic connection with this being here. And I think that's maybe part of the thing about the water sign leaving. I don't, everybody's situation is gonna be different, but what it is, right? And then we have the devil showing up here on the bottom, and this devil is absolutely, you see it. It's lusty. This is definitely more about lust than it is, other addictions. She's tied up, he's tied up, and they don't even care about the chains. They're so caught up in what they're doing that the chains don't even bother them. They're not affecting them. It's not stopping anything from proceeding forward. So to me, this looks like some, passionate times ahead. This is Antenna Oracle signing out. Please leave a like, comment, share for this video if it helped you, if this was the guidance that you were seeking, or if you're seeking guidance, this is it for you. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you.